So now let's look at an application problem. Suppose that a cost to fill your 15-gallon tank is determined by the function C of G is equal to 3.29 G, where C is the cost, is the output cost in dollars, and G is the input cost in gallons of gas. We want to draw a good graph of this function in the space below, and we're going to provide labels for your axes and so forth. You may use the graph in the Desmos to help you. So let's go ahead and go into Desmos. And actually, I'm just going to let Desmos do it, but I want to talk about what is a good graph. So we're going to Desmos. And I want to type in from this, I want to type in the graph y equals, I can't use C because I've got to use y equals, and we'll call it y1 equals, and we have 3.29 times, I can't use x because I need to use, I can't use G, I need to use x. So put in 3.2x. Oh, I typed something wrong here. That's why it didn't come out. Okay. So here's my y1, and let's just make sure that was the right function. The right function is 3.29. Again, you can't use the letter G, you have to use the letter X, but everything else looks okay. But this doesn't look like a very good graph, so we can't see a lot what's going on. So let's go ahead and restrict our graph window a little bit. I'm going to go to graph settings, a little wrench here. I know I can only have 0 gallons. I can't go below 0, so we can't do negatives. And if I look back at this, I noticed that it had a 15-gallon tank. So the maximum number of gallons in the tank can be 15. So I'll change this to 15 as my maximum X value. Dollars is what Y is. Y is how much it's going to cost you. So you can't have less than $0. So we start at 0. And I don't know exactly what I want to do this at, but let's maybe put in 50 and see what that does. And now you can see that point. So we can now see what all the points are, and there's my graph. Why this is considered a good graph is that first off, it does have all the tick marks labeled 1, 2, 3, 4 on the x-axis, and they went by 5, 10, 15, 20 on the y-axis. So you don't need to count by the same things on both axes, but you do need to label these. So this is considered a good graph because it labeled both. We're going to go ahead and share this graph. We're going to go ahead and import this graph into where we are. So we're going to go ahead and download this as a PNG file. Then we're going to come back into Word and we'll go ahead and upload this into the Word file. So again, click where you want to put it, go into Insert. You want to insert a picture. And it's in my downloads. So I'm going to go grab that downloads file. And there it is. A nice thing to also do on these, I'm going to go ahead and use annotation, is that you should actually label your axes. This is the x-axis, and this is the y-axis. So it's a good idea to do that also. So we're going to go ahead and stop the annotation right now. All right, so I've got my labels there of what those two axes were. And you can actually just type them straight into Word if you want to, instead of using the annotation there. And so now I can see more what's happening, but I don't really know exactly where this practical domain and range are. That's what I'd like to find out, is what are the practical domain and range. I can see my practical domain, it goes from 0 to 15. So I can see that information, and I can find that out and type this, but I don't know exactly what these are. I can estimate this lower first ordered pair would be 0, 0. So I could actually do that one. I can type in 0, 0. I can get that information, but I can't really get the last one very well. So we're going to go back into Desmos. We'll use the table vision, table point. I'm going to get rid of my annotation for right now. And just because I didn't want that there. And so I'm going to come out down here, number 2, hit the little plus sign to add an item and add a table. I do want to make this not be x2. I want this just to be x, so I'll get rid of that. I want this to be y1, so I'll get rid of the 2 and put a y1. And now I can go ahead and type in my x of 0, my x of 1, my x of 2 and 3, all the way up. And you can actually now, you notice it just puts in those values for you. So you just hit enter, and I'll put those in there for you. And I wanted to know what my starting one was, which we knew was 0, 0. I want to also know what my ending one is. So my ending point is 15 and 49.35. So I can come back over here and type in that my other ordered pair is 15 and 48. I already forgot what it was. Sorry about that. 49.35. 49.35. There it is as ordered pairs. I can also write this in function notation. Function notation would be the function is C. So C of G, C of 0 is, because G is 0 in this case, would be 0. And my other one would be C of 15. That's again my G value. And that equals 49.35. So there's my ordered pairs in both ordered pair notation and function notation. From those, I can get my practical domain. What I mean by practical domain is that this function can keep going on forever and ever and ever, but practically it doesn't make sense to go beyond how many gallons you can put in there. So my domain, practical domain, would be from 0, and I do want to use the bracket, to 15. Because you can't get anything more than 15 gallons there. So that's my practical domain. Again, the domain of this function normally is all real numbers, but it can't be all real numbers here because we can't go more than 15 gallons. You also want to use the units. So these are gallons. So you can either put the gallons inside there and say it's gallons this way, or you can just put the gallons on the outside. I actually think I prefer having the gallons on the inside. So I know that that goes from 0 gallons to 15 gallons. Now we're going to get the possible output. Now the possible output again is what does the y's go between. And so my possible range is going to be, again, starting at my $0 because we're only starting at 0 as my output. My output starts at 0. Notice it started here at 0. And it goes all the way up to this upper value, which is the upper y value, which is the y value of the 15. So it goes from 0 to 49.35. So my range goes from $0 to $49.35. And again, don't forget the units. And it can be these values, so that's why I use the brackets and not the parentheses. And that's my practical range, because I can't go below $0 and I can't go more than $49 to fill this tank. That's if I have absolutely nothing in there.